The diamond shapes floating in this weird kind of almost liquidy landscape were taking 35 millimeter prints of the Stargate sequence and projecting them onto little triangle-shaped facets of these diamond-shaped tetrahedrons. So each of those each facet of the tetrahedron is actually a movie being projected onto a white plastic tetrahedron. So it would be one pass, the camera gets wound back, the projector gets moved to the other side, another exposure, on and on and on, over multiple tetrahedrons, and it just took hours and hours and days of photography to transpose those movies onto all those facets. The surface below was an extrapolation of the slit scan technique. Instead of having the slit, which created this perfectly flat wall, which was either horizontal or vertical at times, I took the slit and hid it from the camera, but allowed you to see the slit as a reflection off of a bumpy cylinder of plexiglass, mirrored plexiglass. So what happened was that the camera's still doing the slit thing and moving in and out and taking a minute to shoot each frame of film, but instead of it being absolutely flat, it was an irregular reflection off of a drum that was rotating. And this created this kind of liquid, turbulent terrain that looked like water or looked like land or looked like sand or looked like something. The liquid effects of these kind of exploding diaphanous nebulosities that looked like huge astronomical cataclysmic events was actually the first thing that Stanley shot on the film, and some of those shots were shot in New York in a very small room using this technique of dabbing little tiny bits of lacquer and enamel paints on water with certain specific gravities and certain kinds of adhesion qualities so they would expand when they got on water. And the camera would be aimed down, looking at this little area that was about smaller than a pack of cigarettes. And looking at this tiny little liquid phenomena blown up on the big screen looked absolutely galactic.
I remember these large trays with black water, smelly, and Stanley leaning over them and dribbling inks and oily things and lacquers onto the surface, and exploded in the most beautiful way. And he loved these shapes. They were very organic. In fact, they followed the same physical law as presumably the cosmos does. And so he was very excited. Against this, he wanted to set an artificial, scientific, man-made or ET-made look. And this is where Doug Trumbull saved the day and came up with these splendid split scan images. Before that, Stanley walked around saying, please draw me an image that doesn't remind me of anything in a color that doesn't exist. Big joke. We all worked on it. I also did. And we came up with the typical drawings of the day, very 60s looking, and influenced by Magritte and Bonestell and the usual science fiction covers. And we've actually intercut the collection of drawings we're about to show you with 2 moments of the real film. So you can see the enormous difference between our early fumblings and the final fantastic outcome.